Remember when you ran away and I got on my knees and begged you not to leave because I'd go berserk? Well, you let
Hi, my name is Gary Murray, and I'm here with our very first 2017 podcast of Nothing Formal. This podcast is totally informal, haphazard, and unconventional. But at times it inspires spirited conversation with people who may have impacted your life at one point. Now, these aren't the people you're going to find doing a TED Talk on YouTube or promoting their newest project on a late-night TV show. But, of course, there's always something to promote. If we only did these podcasts for fun, I'd have to go back to living behind my friend's garage. Coming up on this edition of Nothing Formal is a conversation clip from April 2017. It's a totally exclusive Nothing Formal interview with Jerry Samuels, a.k.a. Napoleon IVX. Jerry and his wife Bobby were gracious to invite our Nothing Formal crew into their home. Crew meaning me, of course. Jerry thought I was going to have more people with me, so he went out and bought some fresh fruit and vegetables to nosh on while we did the interview. And at this point, I want to apologize up front for all the chewing sounds. So, the scene, as it were, opens up with our brief discussion of what to eat next. Again, excuse the chewing sounds in the foreground. When we finally get into it, Jerry and Bobby discuss several of the powerful components that went into Jerry's newest recording titled Leave the Children Out of It. This is a very, very angry and shocking piece of music, and as you'll hear, Jerry's performance follows suit. There is video footage of the recording session, and we hope to be able to make it available to you in the future. But be forewarned, it's just a tad strange. Anyway, enjoy the conversation.
No. What? And everybody listening, excuse my chewing, but Jerry and Bobby were kind enough to provide an excellent spread of fruit and vegetables. So, I apologize. I know this is an audio presentation, but you're just going to have to lose it because this shit's good. And the first thing, the reason we're doing this, I want to talk about all kinds of stuff that typically people don't get to know or hear. But to start off with, leave the children out of it. Mm-hmm. If we could talk about your latest recording, I'd like to open it up for you to say anything you want about, wherever you want to start about that song. It's an unusual piece. People love it or hate it, right?
It's difficult to say that people love it. Love is a funny word for that song. It's a very angry, shocking, but true song. And it's difficult to say I love it. I love it because it comes from me. It happened to me. It happened to a lot of people. You're talking about something that happens fairly frequently. A couple gets married, the marriage doesn't work. They split up, and one of the spouses decides to use the children as pawns against the other. It's a sad thing, and it happened to me. And I wrote about it. I wrote the song over 40 years ago, but I did not record it until recently for many reasons. First of all, my oldest son did not want me to release it. He was adamant about that. And I went against his wishes and did it anyway because I felt it had to be released. I could not see myself passing through this world with that going with me.
So what happened in your life, can you talk about what happened in your life that inspired this expression?
Well, the kids came to my apartment when I left Rosemary, and they saw my marijuana. I don't think and nothing else happened because we wouldn't be using anything while the kids were there because it was time for the kids. It wasn't time for any other kind of party. But they saw the marijuana, and I explained to them that, yes, I use marijuana. I like it. I have no problem with it. And this went back to their mother. The next time I was going to pick them up, it was a weekend, and I called and she said, "You better call your lawyer, you're never going to see them again."
This is what Rosemary said to you.
That's correct. We wound up in court, and I was told by my lawyer in advance, take the Fifth Amendment. They're going to ask if you use marijuana. I regret having followed that legal advice. I should have done it a whole different way. I took the Fifth Amendment. And when I did, her lawyer said to the judge, "I'd like to call my client," and the judge just bellowed out, "That won't be necessary, I've heard enough." And my lawyer gets up and says, "I object." And the judge barks, "Object? Just look at him shaking over there. I think he's on the stuff right now." I was told by my lawyer that he, in all likelihood, had that comment removed from the records. And I was relegated to visiting the kids at their apartment with her supervising. I couldn't take them out. It got to the point where I couldn't do that because every time I came over, upon her directive, they would attack me. They would kick me and hit me. Not hard, but that they would do it when she told them to. And on the telephone, she was, if I were to call them, it's as if they were being conducted together. She had to conduct them because they were doing it in unison. "Fuck you, we don't want to see you," click.
Really?
Yeah.
Just like in the song?
Oh, yeah.
Well, I didn't know that.
A quote. Well, everything I said in that thing is true.
Yeah, but I didn't know they did it in unison. Like
In unison.
Yeah, wow.
In unison.
Leave the children out of it. Leave them alone, Rosemary. You leave the children out of it. Leave them alone, Rosemary. For God's sake, leave the children out of it. Leave them alone, Rosemary. We had a marriage that was sick. But what you pull now is a cruel and shameful trick. You drag the children down your path and make them wallow in the gutters of your wrath. The words fly from their mouths like daggers through the air, but everyone who hears them knows it's you who put them there.
Daddy is a druggie, Daddy is a bum, Daddy smokes dope and he's nothing but scum. Daddy is a liar and a lunatic too. Fuck you, Daddy, we don't want to see you.
Leave the children out of it. Leave them alone, Rosemary. Just leave the children out of it. Leave them alone, Rosemary. For God's sake, leave the children out of it. Leave them alone, Rosemary. That you protect is your excuse. Too late to sanctify the poisons you induce. And soon the blindness of their youth will swiftly vanish as they learn the shocking truth. And then you'll pay the price of teaching them to hate, for you will be the victim of the monsters you create.
Daddy is a druggie, Daddy is a bum, Daddy smokes dope and he's nothing but scum. Daddy is a snake and a maniac too. Go to hell, Daddy, we don't want to see you.
Leave the children out of it. Leave them alone, Rosemary. For God's sake, leave the children out of it. Leave them alone, Rosemary. You let your shattered pride contaminate their heads. And with your bitterness, you ripped their lives to shreds.
Daddy is a druggie, Daddy is a bum. Daddy smokes dope and he's nothing but scum. Daddy is a liar and a lunatic too. Fuck you, Daddy, we don't want to see you.
Leave the children out of it. Leave them alone, Rosemary. You leave the children out of it. Leave them alone, Rosemary. Just leave the children out of it. Leave them alone, Rosemary, for God's sake.
Welcome back to Nothing Formal. That was Jerry Samuels performing on his newest recording titled Leave the Children Out of It. We hope you're enjoying this rare conversation with Jerry and that you'll stay tuned with us for the short amount of time we have left with him. Now, we have a number of interview segments with Jerry that may become available soon, so let us know which of the following subjects you might like to hear next. Then feel free to contact me at gary@tlcscripts.com or call me direct at 707-MURWAY-1. That's 707-MURWAY number 1. Real simple. I did it Burway. And if you're a numbers person, that's 707-687-9291. I'll say it again just in case you had to go into another room to find a crayon. It's 707-687-9291. All right, so let's get back to Jerry Samuels. He has an extremely eclectic personality and lifestyle. For instance, there's a heart-wrenching story about one of his sons being killed in a shootout with police. And then the conversation lightens up quite a bit with talking about his wire art. He does physical sculpture with wire. It's an amazing thing that he does. And we talk about the songs that he composed for the stars of the day, the musicians and artists that he worked with over the years, and of course, pot. That's a big deal. And probably one of his most favorite subjects, masturbation. But remember we talked about promoting stuff? Well, it's time. Here's a brief word from our sponsors. Please listen closely so I don't have to go live in the back of the garage again.
This entire broadcast has been brought to you by Luna Dunes, that tasty little wafer that's simply out of this world.
And sponsored by TLCscripts.com.
And now back to our convo with Jerry Samuels, also known as Napoleon IVX. I gotta remember to ask him where that name came from.
I finally said to them one day, my coming here isn't doing you any good and probably doing you harm. We'll have to let the time pass, and when the time comes, we'll see each other again. It took 8.5 years to see each other again. The song is a very accurate, truthful reflection of what happened. And some people said to me, gee, we hope that by doing this, by writing the song and by recording it, it was therapeutic. Well, it wasn't.
Not at all?
No.
We hope you have enjoyed this exclusive interview with Jerry and Bobby Samuels. Hey, drop us a line and let us know which of the aforementioned subjects you'd like to hear next. This is Gary Murway for Nothing Formal.
You still in there? What are you doing in there so long?
What do you think I'm doing? Taking a crap.